Saturday, November 4th, 2017 in Colorado Springs, we had a wind event. We're exploring this project to determine where the damage came from. Let's look at this roof together and try to identify the source of the wind damage. It's rather shocking. All of the shingles were peeled off in rows and they're all adhering together. So that tells me immediately that it's not an issue with the fasteners. There is not a fastener issue on this project. Let's look at this a little bit closer to see what we can come up with. What we discovered was the wind speeds were only about 70 miles per hour in this area. Now on this particular area on the eave, although the wind speed in the area is recorded at 70 miles per hour, on the eaves you can get uplifts possibly around 90 miles per hour. If you look inside of this space here underneath of where the decking was at that blew off, you'll see right in there the insulation, and also if you look closely you'll see a soffit vent. What we can tell that happened is that first of all, if you look at this, you'll see that insulation was crammed in there all the way up to almost to the fascia board, and as a result you see that soffit vent right there. When the air blew in there, it was actually blocked into that little tiny area, and what happened was that 90 mile per hour wind gust popped that lower sheet of OSB, and it did that in a couple areas right here on this corner right here. And it did that because that air was not able to flow up to the peak where you have the exhaust vent on the roof, which is required. In this particular case, you have an intake vent that actually was trapped in that soffit area in that box, and the only place that air could go was, and once it fully compressed that area, it exploded, if you will, sort of like a piston, the combustion with a gasoline and a spark with an engine, and then it pushes a piston upward. But it'll push that, and then inside of that cylinder wall, it pushes that piston. Same thing occurred in this area, but there was no piston, but in this cylinder wall where the soffit box is at, what occurred is that wind blew in there and exploded that plywood off of that bottom course right there. First time I've ever seen that happen, but we've been trained by Hague Engineering, and we've seen a lot over the years, and this is the first time we've seen this. So want to let you know that you want to be careful with your ventilation on the roofs. And so this is really a unique situation, sort of neat to see. Hopefully it doesn't happen too often to people. Plywood off. Here's the missing plywood in the area. And then as we go up, you can see where all the shingles were stripped off of there. What happened was those sheets of plywood actually just rolled. If you look at all these courses of shingles over here, just peeled them right up. These are the courses of shingles that were just peeled off of the roof. Here's shredded plywood that was on the street, and across the street, the shredded plywood that we picked up. But what occurred again is that the plywood was lifted, and as it lifted up in the air and it became a cell, it stripped all those other shingles off in courses, and all the shingles were properly nailed together. But they were bonding so well that when the plywood came off, it just stripped it off of there. Never seen anything like this. We'll be meeting with the insurance adjuster soon. I know they'll concur because we know that this is a fact, what we're stating. Here it is, another piece of the plywood just shredded right there. And all of this was windborne. Went about 150 feet, and all occurred from this soffit right here being blocked and had no place to go. Again, here the shingles just peeled off, and the plywood had to pick it up down the street. All right, guys, let's properly ventilate everything.